and welcome to Universal Heritage Television Naija. We are bringing to you again today another package in our Daybreak Naija show. I have to discuss with me the issues playing out in PDP, the unending political crisis rocking PDP. To focus on the matter, I have on my right is Christian Abunono. Comrade Abunono is the PRO of Academic Political Forum in Imo State. You are welcome.
You're welcome.
Okay. I also have on my left Prince Ebube Mba. Ebube Mba is the DG in head of her new media center, as well as a member Imo PDP New Media Center. Ebube, you are welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Back to the topic, the unending PDP crisis. It's no longer news that the party has been facing some challenges and efforts by so many groups to bring it to an end appears not yielding results. Efforts have been made to reach out to the major gladiators, the governor of Rivers State in particular, Barrister Nyesom Wike, leading four other governors. And on one hand, and doing battle with the party chairman, National Party Chairman Ayocha Ayu, and the party's presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar. Over the weekend, we got a comment from the party chairman indicating that he may take further action by suspending Otom, the governor of Benue State, who is running for the senatorial seat in the state. Everything points to the fact that all efforts to bring these issues to an end is not yielding results. So we are going to look at it. Now, let me get to you, Bonono. How will you describe the insistence by Wike that Ayocha Ayu should resign? Now, some people are thinking that that is a defense for democracy, that the Wike struggle represents a fight for democracy. Do you agree with that view, or do you think that it is colored by some other considerations? How do you see the Wike struggle?
Of course, Wike struggle is in the right direction. Of course, before now, I was one of the PDP stalwarts. I am somehow reasonably acquainted with what is going on in the PDP. And this has been the bane. You can see PDP, each time election is getting close, the history is replete with the party battling to settle one internal crisis or the other until they are caught up with the election proper. What Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State is doing is standing by the truth. He actually recommended Ayu on the condition that the president will not come from the same region with him. Now Atiku came from north, Ayu from the same north. Is it not central? I don't know. He simply called him to order. Remember, you already promised that you will resign. So by right, he doesn't need to be told to resign for equity, fairness, and good conscience, so that they pick a party leader from other region. You remember, Nigeria is a multi-ethnic region, and power are shared among these multi-ethnic nationalities, especially top party hierarchy powers and political party office positions. So Wike would have been a gentleman to respect his words and suit them to action by simply bowing out and throwing in the towel. The moment
Wike, you mean Ayocha Ayu?
should have been a man of his words for the purpose of integrity by throwing in towel the moment Atiku emerged as the presidential flag bearer. Atiku is from the same northern side. So northern person does not have business being the party.
So drawing from the constitution, like we said, I got your point, Ebube. Yeah, you had him, your co-discussant. The constitution of the party, according to Mike, as he insists, says that the party chairman, if the chairman comes from the south, the president should come from the north, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. And now that is what is playing out. Mm-hmm. But RHI is holding on to the position, saying nobody can dethrone him, nobody can expel him, or nobody can sack him. Now, what is your thinking about what is happening?
Thank you very much for having me on this program. As a means of starting my speech, I would like us to look at a brief history of the political happenings in the build-up to 2023 presidential election. First of all, is what we need to know, what Nigerians need to know is that my party, the People's Democratic Party, is a party that is built on the ideology of democracy. We practice democracy in the real sense. What do I mean by this? This is the only party where every party man can come out and say, this is my wish, this is my desire, and he will be allowed to do so. And he will be allowed to fight for a cause. The other parties we have, the other major parties we have today, are not like that. They are like, they are best described as maybe a secret cult or whatever. They don't practice internal democracy. PDP is the only party whereby you have party members, anyone is free to come out and express himself. Anyone is free to come out and say what he desires or how it is in his mind.
Yeah,
okay, going back to
saying what you desire is not having your way.
Yeah, that is why it is called democracy. In democracy, a minority will have their say, but majority will have their way. Okay. If you are not in the majority, you can only have your say. But you know what I'm saying is, in other parties, you don't even have your say. Talk more of having your way. So back to what we are discussing. If we all recall, some few years ago, about 2 years or 3 years ago, Prince Uche Secondus was the national chairman of PDP. He is from Rivers State, South Nigeria. Just before the end of his tenure, politicking started. All of a sudden, we heard that he was suspended from his electoral ward, which is in Rivers State, where Governor Nyesom Wike is holding sway as the leader of the party there. All of a sudden, we heard that the national chairman has been suspended in his political ward. The next thing, people went to court. Just like that, in a twinkling of an eye, the man was thrown out. Now, and then we had a need for a new Congress that brought in UHTv. And UHTv, as all the political watchers all know, was practically brought by Governor Autumn. Was practically sponsored, so to say, by Governor Autumn. Now, Governor Autumn is a very good ally to Governor Nyesom Wike. They are, even till today, they are still in the same camp, so to say. Then we entered into the process of the presidential election. The first process was to set up a zoning committee. Originally, whenever a zoning committee is being set up, their duty, this was before the Congress that produced UHTv. Whenever a zoning committee is being set up, the zoning committee, their responsibility is to come out and say, we are zoning our national chairman position to either the north or the south. And once you zone the national chairman position to a particular region, automatically you also declare that the the presidential ticket will go to the other region. That has been the practice in PDP, which anybody can say is in the constitution or written constitution or whatsoever. Now, in this season, the chairman of that particular committee I can recall is Governor Ifeanyi of Enugu State, who is also an ally and a close friend to Governor Nyesom Wike. Ifeanyi chaired that committee that did the zoning for the national chairman. What they did was to zone the national chairmanship position to the north. This is a position that was already in the south before Uche Secondus was thrown out. Somebody influenced the zoning of that position to the north, maybe for personal reasons, thinking that if he zones it to the north automatically, okay, that happened. Now, instead of that same committee to finish the work, they left it at that. They concluded they didn't zone the presidential ticket. We did the Congress and UHTv emerged. Close to the primaries, the party set up another committee. The committee this time around was being chaired by Governor Oton, who we all recall I said here is a close ally of Governor Nyesom Wike. Governor Oton chaired the committee that was supposed to zone the presidential tickets. Now, when they got to the committee, lobbying and all the rest ensued. And then the committee, at some point, they were having back and forth. Why was it so? They looked at the trajectory of PDP as a party, the trajectory of presidency. In the 24 years of return of democracy in Nigeria since 1999, PDP has had a president of PDP from the south for about 13 years, and then the north 2 years. Now, there was a lot of lobbying. Are we going to zone it to the south? Are we going to zone it to the north? And some northern leaders came out and said that since there are agitations that it has to go to the south, maybe because the current President Muhammad Buhari is from the north, even though he is not a member of PDP, that if it has to go to the south, that the southwest has had a share of 8 years in the presidency. The south have had a share of 6 years, 5 years plus, close to 6 years in the presidency. That if it has to come to the south, it has to be southeast. Now, interested parties in that committee, which Governor Wike is among them, knowing fully well that he is not from southeast, knowing fully well that if it goes that way, it will not favor him, knowing fully well that his man is the chairman of that committee, they did what they did, and at the end of the day, they kept it open. They didn't zone it to the south, they didn't zone it to the north. And everybody said, okay, let's go to the field. Everybody, people that were interested from the north bought forms, people that were interested in the south bought forms. Southeast. And then, yes, including the southeast, from all regions, people bought forms. So we went into the primaries. In the build up to the primaries, a lot of politicking happened, a lot of issues came up, aspirants moving into different states, causing different, using their machineries to distort the build-up or the lineup of political leadership within the party in different states. This happened, changing of delegate lists and all the rest of them. All these things at some point forced some of the presidential aspirants, including Peter Obi, to leave the party. Someone did all these things. Now, at the end of the day, we held primaries, and on the ground of the primaries, people were allowed to speak. Presidential aspirants, all of them were given opportunities to speak. And I can recall that Governor Nyesom Wike, I was there at the National Stadium. I was physically there when he said that he is a party man, that he has been in this party since 1998. He has supported the party, and the party has done so well for him. The party has made him a local government chairman, chief of staff to the governor, minister, governor for 8 years, that anybody that emerges on this ground this night, that he will support the person to the fullest. This is a promise made by Governor Wike at National Stadium on that night of convention, that anybody that emerges here this night, that he will unconditionally support the person to the fullest. We conducted the primaries, and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar emerged as a presidential candidate, and then since then the whole issues arise, and Wike started with the issue of Ayu resigning and all the rest. Now, what do I have to say about Ayu? If Ayu has to resign, it has to come from him. Nobody can coerce him, nobody can force him to resign, because he is there on constitutional basis. The constitution of the party elected him into power, and he has a tenure. The tenure has not expired. So if he has to resign, it has to come from him. Nobody can coerce him to resign. And he has said that when a president of PDP emerges, that he will resign. Now, what I see Wike doing is just fighting a personal cause. That is how I see it. He's not fighting a cause for the Southerners. He's fighting a personal cause. Because if you look at the history I have taken time to give us, you will understand that somebody has, for the past few months and years past, tried to orchestrate everything that has happened in the party. Now it got to the last minute. The last orchestration didn't favor you, and you're not crying foul.
Okay. Thank you for taking time to give a rundown of the flow of activities. I guess a lot of people will now get better informed on what has been playing out in the PDP. For those who have not been following things, you see, drawing from what he said Wike has been fighting a personal cause, and it appears it is not for the interest of democracy. I want to ask you, how did it come to the point that Wike grew so big, like a giant Iroko tree, that anytime he calls, the PDP quakes? Now, how do you relate his strength in the PDP to the practice of democracy, where one person is now calling the shots and holding the entire party and even beyond to ransom?
Well, it's an acceptable fact that Wike has enormous political and financial war chest to influence PDP to his favor. One point, the last speaker recognized well that they said that this guy's emergence, Ayu, was a constitutional something. I differ to great extent.
You differ?
To great extent with him.
Okay.
The constitution or constitutional provisions or constitutional stipulations are usually what? Energized by certain conventions practiced by the party that are not really written in black and white. It is the convention that once the party presidency emerges from
one zone, okay,
the party chairman
will come from the same
on another zone.
If I get you, you're saying it's not a written constitution.
It's not a written constitution.
It's a convention.
It's a convention.
But some conventions are more or less like law, like it is practiced in British democracy.
That's what I'm saying. It's an innovation. It's a source of law.
Yes.
Conventions are source of law.
So what is your point here now?
Yes, Wike and even Atiku himself admitted and accepted, but the understanding was that the presidency should be zoned to the southeast. So when the Obi went there, they started the show of power and money capacity, high falutin money capacity. He told him the peril and left gently at the voice of the Lord. He left, not even knowing where he was going, like Abraham was with Macedonians and had that God said, Abraham, take your things and leave your people.
So he moved like Abraham.
Yes, Abraham did not doubt it. He left Macedonia immediately. And the Bible reported back that God credited it to Abraham as righteousness. And that's exactly what Peter Obi did.
Okay, now, yeah, what I'm asking, my question is on Wike, how he grew so much. You said it because he has a financial war chest, you know, and then I said, is that good for our democracy that one man can be calling the shots and distorting the entire structure?
Actually, it's not good and it doesn't follow well. But you know Nigeria we come from. They say the man with the funds for goat grazing is the person goat follows. Do you understand?
Yes.
So when he presented Ayu, he followed it up with financial war chest and other capacities and succeeded. Ayu now abandon his promise to resign once the president emerges from the north. Now, when he has fallen out with his boss, Wike, somebody else from the background reminded him, even the journalist, his words,
The promise he made.
made.
Okay, so in this case, Wike made a promise he was going to support whoever emerges. And Ayu made a promise that he was going to throw in the towel if
A president emerged. A president has not emerged. What we have is a presidential candidate. That is the disparity that UK has not been able to separate.
We are not talking the same thing.
The national chairman said when a president emerges from PDP, he will resign. A president has not emerged. What we have is a presidential candidate. No, that is the mistake. No, that's not a yes Enrique is making. And I had to refer for us to I had to
no, let's hear him.
I had to refer to Wike as Ayu's boss. That is not correct. Wike, when Ayu was the Senate President of Nigeria as far back as 1992. I don't know where Wike was then. So, and in trying to concur to what you said about the money politics we play in Nigeria, that is what is affecting, that is what is causing this whole thing. You know, Nigerians, we've been built in a way, I don't know if it is hunger or unemployment that has caused this for a long period of time, that we've been built in a way that money plays a lot of role in our politics. You know, money influences a lot of things and in our politics, and it is not supposed to be so. That is what is causing some of these issues we are seeing, because someone feels, you know, he can, you know, pump out money from his state funds, use it to, you know, switch, influence others and others. This is the same thing that happened in the build up to the primaries. I can recall Governor Wike when he was doing his state-to-state consultations. That then Peter Obi was still in PDP. He went to Anambra State because of the confidence he has in the money he was carrying, the deep pocket he has. He went to Anambra State, a home state of Peter Obi. He went there speaking to party men and delegates. He told them, look, that there is no need for them to waste their votes on their son, that he is going nowhere. These are the kind of careless statements he made, you know, because he felt he has a lot of money to throw around. You know, he made that kind of statement. That was why, you know, people, that was why some of the reasons that caused, and even during the build-up of the delegate lists, some of those presidential aspirants doesn't know who the delegates from their area was. And this made them to leave the party. So, and he's now coming back now to say he is fighting a cause for the South. He's not fighting, he's fighting a personal cause. Because I can even recall that in the build up to the primaries, our current presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, came out openly and said that if they zone this thing to the southeast, that he will withdraw from the race. He said it emphatically. That if they zone this position to the southeast, he was specific. And because we are a party that, like I said before, we practice democracy. We have checked this thing. Even if it has to come to the southeast, it has to be to the south. It has to be southeast that has not tested this position. And if it has to go to the north for any reason, it has to be northeast that has not also tested the presidential position. So that is why I said our party practices. That is why we can sit down like this, and even people that are not party men can sit down and analyze issues going on in our party. But even as I am now, I can't even tell what is going on in other parties like APC and they run like a secret cult. We don't know what they are doing there. And somebody can just sit down, 3 people in a room can sit and take a decision for the whole party. That's how democracy is supposed to
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Are you asking him? Okay.
Because he is the speaker.
No, speaker.
You are my co-guest. If the questions are coming from him.
Speaker for any position.
No, at the moment.
Speaker for who?
At the moment,
if you want me to clarify, yes.
If you want clarification on any issue, but not asking question as if he's speaking for any particular person in this particular discussion. Well, let me get to you, Abunonu. You may put your questions later on. Now, this what Wike is doing. Wike has continued to insist that unless Ayu resigns, there will be no deal. And he and his co-governors, a band of 5 governors, as I call them, are not supporting. They've not been part of the PDP presidential campaigns. Now, what they are doing, would you think it is an anti-party activity?
Like you rightly said, somehow PDP is being seen as a party with internal democracy, but that's not true. The PDP has this convention of rotating the posts, and as a convention, for Atiku Abubakar to say if the candidate emerges from southeast, he will resign.
He will not contest.
He said if it is zoned.
If it is before the primary.
That was before the primary. If it is zoned to the southeast, he will withdraw from the race.
Good, he will withdraw from the race. That is equally fair. If that being the case, to the people of southeast.
But it was not done. That was why he ran. So what I'm saying now, what I am saying, the refusal of Wike to join in the party's presidential campaign, can we see that as anti-party? Because everything he's doing is running against the party.
No, I don't think so.
It is not anti-party.
You must not belong to the presidential campaign council to be upright in the party.
Okay. Even when he pulled out his people.
Well, from to demonstrate your political class, you can, draw the attention of your supporters to your standpoint at a particular time.
Even when it is against the overall interest of the party.
No, that's his position was not against the overall interest of the party. Because the overall interest of the party is that the party, the North, has held political position in PDP for more than 18 years. And by right,
position.
Presidential position.
Presidential, but that is not correct.
Under the PDP.
Under PDP.
No, listen, if you had listened to his analysis, it's not.
That is not correct.
Okay, let me use 12 years.
Okay, so it's not. You said it's not anti-party. How is this crisis affecting the PDP?
Thank you. There is something you said last. So you said, I don't think he truly understood what I said when I said that Atiku said if the position is zoned to the southeast, he will withdraw from the rest. The position was not zoned to the southeast, so there's no instance where Atiku
that was understood. I took
there is no the person
at the back of my mind. Even if last time I spoke.
Yeah. If anything, the person that reneged on his words is Governor Nyesom Wike, who said that if a presidential candidate emerges, he will unconditionally support the person. And you said it is not what he is doing now is not antipathy. So how else can we describe it? Does it mean that, for instance, in your party, the Labour Party, does it mean that maybe your senatorial candidate, for instance, in Olu Zone, Charles Ahize, does it mean he is at liberty to campaign and work for a presidential candidate in another party?
No.
So why is what Wike doing? How is it not antipathy?
These two examples don't go.
No, it goes.
No.
They are the same thing. They are the same thing.
No,
if you say that a PDP governor that is holding the mandate of PDP is at liberty to start campaigning for someone in another party, if you say it is not anti-party, then it means candidates in your own party too are also at liberty to work for people in other parties. And going to your question, how it is affecting my party, well, what I will have to say is that these things happen. They happen virtually every election year and virtually in all the political parties. After all, if you look at APC, since they finished their primaries, there have been a lot of back and forths. The only reason why it is not pronounced the way PDP is pronounced is what I said earlier, that PDP, we are only the party whereby anyone is free to come out and express himself. In APC, you cannot try that. Even they are in power, both at the presidency and in several states. You cannot come out and start saying you would dare it in APC.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, that is why there are many people.
Can I ask you a question?
Let me just wrap up this. There are many people in APC that are not even supporting their presidential candidate, but they are not coming out openly the way Wike is coming out because of the way they practice in their own party. Even in Labour Party, they also have the same issues. If you look at Labour Party, their presidential candidate is from the south, their national chairman is from the south, their DG is also from the south. So, and these things are also causing people are also murmuring, especially since the emergence of their DG. People have started murmuring. They had a lot of back and forth, but people are not coming out openly to say these things because those parties don't operate that way. They don't believe in internal democracy. They don't believe that you can have your say. To start, we talk more of having your way, but in PDP we believe that you can have your say. If you are able to convince enough people to be in the majority, then you have your way.
Yeah, but before you make your point, he said something very, very valid. In the Labour Party, where the chairman comes from the south, the presidential candidate comes from the south, and like he said, the DG campaign,
yes,
the presidential campaign is also from. Now, heavens have not fallen. Nobody has raised such agitation like Wike is doing.
Good.
And in the APC, except there are pockets of resistance coming from the Christian community in the north, who frown at the Muslim ticket. APC is running a Muslim ticket. But we have not seen that type of action coming from Wike.
Okay.
We have not seen it in APC. So how do you...
What are the kind of actions? What are the kind of... what are his kind of actions?
The opposition is mounting.
Influencing other governors, is carrying them. And in fact, somebody said yesterday that Wike is so influential that he has about 14 states under his control, and that PDP is gone. The PDP is not likely to.
That's his political instrument.
His political.
And as a party that has internal democracy,
yes,
he has a right to his decision. If he didn't find an article in his good book.
Okay.
It doesn't go all out to start talking against article. All they do is if they fail to agree, they disagree to agree. They agree to disagree.
Okay.
Excuse me, have I answered that question?
You are saying that PDP is practicing internal democracy.
Yes.
That's what you are saying. If PDP is practicing internal democracy, why would Wike, one person, hold the party to ransom?
That's it, because he has right to his opinion.
Okay. And when against the majority opinion of others?
Yes.
Minority opinion against the...
Yes.
Is that the democracy we are...
Yes. If it's being voted for, we know the one that is minority and the one that is majority. Meanwhile, Wike has not pulled out of PDP. I hope you know.
He has not pulled out, but his body language does not support what PDP is doing.
Are we surprised?
You should tell us.
No, we're not surprised because the man at the center of the storm,
issue, yes,
Atiku Abubakar, does not want to take advantage of his position as a leader to call for a truce between him and Rotimi. Wike.
Yeah, are you truly saying this? Because you remember, Atiku Abubakar and so many other groups have reached out to Wike. So many meetings have been held in Port Harcourt and elsewhere here and there. All of them outside, trying to pacify him and trying to get some understanding. And you're saying that Atiku has not done enough.
As a negotiator. A negotiator.
What else do you want?
And an international negotiator, for that matter.
So what more do you want?
If Atiku has not succeeded in calling the truce between him and Wike, he should not force him. And for not my word, Wike has not left PDP, but he has right to his opinion.
Let's come down to Imo State here, where there are also some issues playing out. In PDP, there is the Samdadi group, there is the Hedoha group, and the struggle for power for 2023. Now, do we still think that following these issues, this crisis, that PDP still stand a chance everywhere?
Thank you very much.
The internal crisis between the two henchmen.
Thank you very much.
Is
National Secretary,
a former governor and a party national
and
secretary.
former number 6 citizen.
Thank you for your question.
Former House of Press member.
I don't think there is any crisis within the PDP in Imo State. Presently, there are no crises. Whatever you see or whatever people, these are just imaginations. People to sit and imagine what they want to believe. As a matter of fact, there is no crisis in Imo PDP. Imo PDP is one. Imo PDP is united. We have maximum respect for all our leaders, including the National Secretary of PDP, who is from Imo State, Senator Samuel Anyang, and also including the leader of the party in the state, Right Honorable Meki Hedua. So there are no crises within the party in Imo State, and INEC just released the timetable for Imo governorship election. People have not started declaring officially, even though insinuations might be here and there that this person is running from the body, but nobody has come out to openly say that he is running or he's not running. So as of today, Imo PDP is one.
Abudano, do you agree that there are no issues in Imo PDP?
That's total lies. Was I not a member of PDP?
So what?
I was in the better position to tell the situation PDP crisis had deepened
in Imo State.
In Imo State.
So let us know.
Well, the first attempt somebody made in the going for governorship slot, at the point of the same primaries, he was viciously beaten out by Meki Hedua.
How
by beaten out.
Yeah. When you talk, explain, because it's not just to make sweeping statements. Because the party man here is saying there are no issues, there is no crisis.
Okay, let me debunk him now, or refute him. So why Meki Hedua emerged was he had the instrument of the PDP in the state at his call and beckon. He was fast, penultimate to the Congress, to change the delegate qualification.
Which one are you talking in 2019? Or the
2019.
2019.
To change delegate qualification, and exercise those who were wait now.
Okay.
They exercise those who were former OGA chairman.
Okay.
All of a sudden, and there will be somebody I don't know that this is what he will be facing on the day of the primaries. The PDP usually have the convention for party primaries. Don't wait for them to come that day. I mean, they say the convention has changed. This time around, if you have been a member of party executive at AGA level, you cannot be a delegate. And that's where somebody was counting on his strength. He sulked, and by that time he began to lose strength. So Emeka had his way. Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Good. This time around, whosoever say there's no crisis in PDP is not truly following.
So what are the crises?
The crisis in the PDP is that Emeka insists on taking the ticket of PDP for the third time. I refuse to accept that the position being zoned to Owerri. Owerri has Owerri zone has Owerri zone has sub zones.
Okay. So
Namely, Ibuike. That's from where somebody
what a
comes.
federal constituency.
Where the federal constituency and then Gopala.
Yes. So what are your issues?
And
now because
Ibuike, have I mentioned Ibuike?
Yes, yeah, mentioned Ibuike.
Good.
Yeah.
So we have been trying to let Emeka Ihedioha to understand these intrigues and respect himself and bow out of the primaries gently. But he prefers to fight a war of blame and may eventually come to the blame at last.
Okay, that is your. Are you speculating or are you making a statement of certainty that
You cannot make a statement of certainty. Am I permitted to?
Well, you can talk.
You're only permitted when I'm talking to give me information. You have been fond of interjecting.
When you are done, I will.
Yes.
Chris, no, let him. We don't have much time. Let him talk about this issue. He said there is no issue, no crisis in, and he said there is one. And I said, let us know what it is. He went back to 2019, which is already gone and nobody is talking about. So maybe he may have more information to give us.
Okay.
But he cannot. See, there have been pockets of, the body language of your principal and that of the National Party scribe does not seem to indicate that everything is all okay, because we feel it. We feel it even though it is not pronounced there. I will remember the issue that played out during the primaries as per Ugochira, which he went to court and the rest of it, they're all now history. So if you have anything more to say, let us...
Okay, thank you very much. There is no crisis, and I wonder why it is people from other parties that are telling us. He said he's a member of the Labour Party and also a consultant in the Divine Mandate, a political organization of Sam Dadi.
Yes.
I wonder why they are the ones telling us that there is crisis in PDP.
Because I've been a keen watcher.
See any.
I'm the development analyst. I'm a keen watcher.
Like I said before, people are yet to declare officially. When people declare, we will know the aspirants, and then if you check constitutionally that there is nothing barring anybody from contesting, then I wonder why it should be an issue. People should be ready to go to the primaries and slug it out, and if you are popular enough among the people will elect you.
In as much as there won't be anything current, anything current anymore,
Okay.
with the rules and conventions.
Okay, so we'll keep a tab on what plays out going forward. PDP primary election that will throw up whoever represents them. Gentlemen, this is where we draw the curtain. Viewers, thank you for being part of the program everywhere. Thank you for coming and for your contribution.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page. My name is Afam Echi. Thank you for being part of the program. Please join us next time tomorrow.